This is Saint Rad. Today I want to discuss a sermon I heard from an SSPX priest. And I'll link the sermon in the comments so that if people want to listen to it, they can. I find this sermon to be a problem that the SSPX has. The problem of just accepting reality, okay? They just can't accept reality. And this sermon, I believe, is an example of that. Okay, so in this sermon by the SSPX priest, he mentions that he finds the Novus Ordo leadership, Leo and Fernandez, to be inconsistent in their application of punishments, inconsistent in their approach to the SSPX. And he mentions the reasons for this. He says why he believes this. So he mentions that, Fernandez, Leo, they'll meet with all kind of heretics and schismatics and false religions and everybody else, but whatever reason they won't meet with the society. Okay, they'll warm up to all the heretics and schismatics and so forth, but won't warm up to the SSPX. Why is it that traditionalists are always the ones that are getting the heel of Leo, basically? Why is it that we're always the ones that are called schismatics? Why are we the ones that are always being excommunicated or whatever, or face that kind of punishment, when real schismatics and heretics and false religions are embraced and welcomed? And that he sees this as something that's inconsistent, that they're willing to be warm and embracing to all these other people, but when it comes to the society and tradition itself, they want nothing to do. They want to talk. They want to make time to meet with them and so forth. Right. So he sees this to be an issue. And in the course of this sermon, he lists just a ton of the evil that the Novus Ordo is doing and that they're happy about, right? That the Novus Ordo embraces all these different evil things, and he lists the whole list and says, no problem with them being excommunicated, but the SSPX will be excommunicated, even though we're following the faith and we're following, the tradition of the church. But all these things that are going on, he lists a whole series of them. There's no problem. They can do whatever they want. And they're embraced by Leo and they're embraced by Fernandez. But we're not, And why is that? Why are they so inconsistent? Why can't they show their charity toward us when all we want to do is be Catholic and follow the Catholic religion and so forth? That's pretty much the gist of his homily, and he mentions that this is the issue with them. But then he also says that they're modernists and that they're harming the church and they're doing all these things in the course of this sermon, and that this is why the SSPX has to go and do consecrations to preserve Catholic faith and tradition. And I just want them to accept reality. Okay, I listened to this sermon and I thought, and I had my question was if I could ask this priest, my question would be, why do you want to be accepted by these people? Why do you want them to treat you the same way that they treat heretics and schismatics, apostates, false religions, evil workers? Why do you want them to treat you the same way as them? Why do you want them to look at you with the same love and charity as they do all those evils? Why do you want that? Why do you want to meet and want them to accept and say, everything, yeah, go ahead, have your bishops, do your bishop, consecrate your bishops, that's fine, and we'll put you in this one group and with the other groups of all the other heretics and schismatics, and you can have your side chapel here too. Why do you want that from him? It makes no sense. I just can't fathom that idea. And one thing he says that Leo's being inconsistent, right? I want to say this. Leo, Fernandez, all those people are not being inconsistent. They're not being, they're not being inconsistent here. They are treating you as an outsider. Okay? SSPX, they're treating you as an outsider. If you had the similar beliefs as Leo and Fernandez, if you embraced religious liberty, if you embraced false ecumenism, if you embraced their thinking and their modernism, they would treat you like all the other heretics and schismatics. But because you don't, they don't see you as one of them. They don't want anything really to do with you. You're just odd to them. That's why they treat these other people with this charity, because they feel a connection to them. They see themselves as believing the same things. As Leo said, he's one with those guys. He's not one with you. So he's not going to speak this particular way with them as he is with you, because you guys don't have the same faith or religion. You're outside, and he's opposed to it. He doesn't like what you stand for. It goes against his religion. It goes against his beliefs. Your position and your traditional Catholicism goes against what he believes. And so he can't stand it and doesn't want to deal with you guys, basically. All right? And here's something else, too, that you need to think about. You claim, and I say you've been talking about the leadership of the society, claim to be in union with Leo. You claim to be part of the family. Now, do people treat your children? Do you treat your children the same way you treat other people's children? Right? If someone's in your family, you expect them to follow certain rules, to follow certain principles laid down, to follow your culture of your family, to obey your parents, things of that nature. All right? So if you claim, and this is probably Leo's thinking, that if you claim to be united with me, then follow what I'm saying. Do what I'm doing. We believe in religious liberty. We believe in ecumenism. We embrace all these false religions. And you're not going along with the program, SSPX. You're not going along. And so Leo is going to be harsh with you because you're claiming to be one with this, being in this family, and you're not going along with what the leader of the family says. You're not following Dad, right? You're not following the program. And so, of course, he's going to say, hey, look, if you want to be part of this family, then you got to go along with what I'm saying. You got to follow my rules. You got to believe what we believe here in this family. If not, guess what? You are going to be kicked out of the family. You're going to be kicked out of the family. If you want to be part of this family, you have to believe what we believe and follow our rules, follow our culture, follow what we believe as a family. If you want to do your own thing, then leave the family. And so that's why he's harsher with you guys. Because you guys are claiming to be united with him, and he knows that you're not. Okay? And he's going to use words like schismatic. You guys are being schismatic, and you guys are going to be excommunicated, because those are words you understand. Those are words traditional Catholics understand. Those are words we don't like. We don't want to be schismatic. We know it's evil to be schismatic. We don't want to be excommunicated because it's bad to be excommunicated outside the church. So he has to use that kind of language to wake you up and to say, you don't belong here. And if you don't go on the program, guess what? You will be excommunicated from this Novus Ordo church. And you'll be a schismatic from this Novus Ordo Pope. Yeah, he's trying to get into your brain that, look, stop saying you're united with us. You're not. That's what he's doing. So he has to speak your language. He has to communicate to you in a way you understand. So he's going to be harsh with you. So he's not being inconsistent. They're being very consistent in what they're doing, in the way they handle, because you guys don't represent their religion. And he hates your religion. He hates traditional Catholicism. He embraces ecumenism. That's what he embraces. So if you're going to embrace that, he's going to welcome you and be friendly with you. If you're opposed to that, he's going to feel like you're opposing his agenda. He's not going to be embracing and welcoming. That's consistent. Okay? he may not do the same thing with the Germans, but in principle, the German bishops go along with what he's doing. They're not opposed to Vatican II. So he's not going to excommunicate them. He's not going to speak that way with them. He might have different agreements on the way they do things, or they're implemented, but he's not going to communicate them because he sees them as part of the family. He doesn't see you as part of the family. And you need to see yourselves as not part of this family. How much good can you do, will the SSPX do if they just rejected this modernist as the Pope, as any kind of authority in the Catholic Church, and just embrace this set of composition? It would do so much good. This is why I'm glad that the society will be excommunicated by this heretic. I'm glad, I hope Leo excommunicates the SSPX so that it becomes clear in their mind that they're not in the family anymore. They're not part of the Novus Ordo anymore. Stop pretending it. And I think it would just be so good. So this sermon, I'm going to link it, but it's just, they just need to accept reality. They accept the obvious. The obvious. And stop saying, oh, please be more, why aren't you inconsistent? We want to consecrate bishops. The Chinese are consecrating bishops. They're doing this. But why are you treating us so harshly? Because he doesn't like you guys. And you shouldn't want him to, honestly. Ave Maria.